the stranded 19-year-old who made American cheese out of leftover food. Today, people all around the world eat processed cheese every day, and on average, Americans consume 40 pounds of it each year. In the past, this wouldn't have been possible because cheese would spoil quickly without refrigeration, and refrigerators didn't even exist back then. As a result, businesses suffered significant losses due to inventory spoilage and lost profits. However, one courageous man changed the game for the industry. Let me tell you the story of James Kraft, a man who found himself stranded in Chicago with only $65 and leftover cheese scraps. Born in 1874 to farmers in Fort Erie, Canada, James was raised with a strong work ethic and strict rules. After finishing high school, he worked as a clerk at a general store but eventually desired more. James packed his bags and moved to Buffalo, New York, where he worked as a secretary and treasurer for the Shepherd Cheese Company. Within a year, he proved himself and became a partner in the business. During a trip to Chicago to inspect a company branch, James received devastating news. The other partners decided to dissolve their agreement, leaving him stranded with only $65. Undeterred, James took a risk and decided to start his own business in the cheese industry. He rented a horse and carriage and headed to Chicago's warehouse district, where he purchased stacks of wholesale cheese. Instead of reselling the cheese to stores around the city, he saved them the hassle by distributing it himself. After 6 years, James' wholesale cheese business became highly successful, allowing him to hire his brothers and incorporate the company as J.L. Kraft and Bros Company, later known as Kraft. This timing was perfect as more Americans were working long hours and had less time to cook, leading them to rely on dairy products for their nutrition and convenience. However, dairy products, including cheese, were prone to spoilage, resulting in significant losses for businesses. Meanwhile, in Switzerland, two cheesemakers named Walter Gerber and Fritz Stettler were working on inventing processed cheese. They discovered that by heating cheese, adding an emulsifier called sodium citrate, and canning it, they could create a cheese product that resisted spoilage and had a longer shelf life. They sold their Swiss processed cheese in small, tin cans. Inspired by this innovation, James Kraft realized that creating his own processed cheese could lead his company to become the first national cheese brand and bring immense success. He began experimenting with pasteurization, heating a jar to kill harmful bacteria and sealing leftover cheddar cheese inside. After facing initial challenges, he added an emulsifier called sodium phosphate, which kept the fat and oil together, prevented spoilage, and improved the flavor. After perfecting the recipe, James purchased his first factory and began selling American processed cheese made with cheddar in small, tin cans. Consumers were initially hesitant about cheese spoiling, but many were eager to try James' invention, and interest grew steadily. In just 1 year, Kraft's sales skyrocketed from $5,000 to $150,000, prompting James to file a patent for his American processed cheese, which was quickly approved. Kraft's success continued to soar until the First World War broke out, and the United States decided to enter the conflict. James saw an opportunity to help the war effort and offered to sell his processed cheese to the US government. They accepted due to the cheese's nutritional value, long shelf life, and lightweight packaging. Kraft supplied the military with 6 million pounds of processed cheese, and upon the soldiers' return, the demand for his product grew, contributing to $119 million in sales. After the war, Kraft expanded its presence across the US and overseas, acquiring other cheese products such as Velveeta, Philadelphia cream cheese, and when the Prohibition ended, even Pabst. Kraft's dominance in the cheese market grew, and they continued to innovate by introducing popular products like Kraft macaroni and cheese and Kraft singles, which became household staples. With time, Kraft captured 50% of the processed cheese market and eventually went public, raising over $8 billion in one of the largest initial public offerings in U.S. history. The company's success caught the attention of renowned investor Warren Buffett, who orchestrated a merger between Kraft and Heinz. Today, Kraft Heinz stands as one of the largest food companies globally, and people from all over the world still enjoy processed cheese on various foods, from burgers to macaroni and nachos. In fact, the average American consumes 40 pounds of cheese annually. During the pandemic, the demand for non-perishable products like Kraft soared, forcing the company to run some of its factories 24/7. As a result, Kraft Heinz remains a global corporation worth $40 billion. The story of James Kraft, a man who started with $65 and leftover cheese scraps in Chicago, serves as a testament to his determination and entrepreneurial spirit. Through his ingenuity and relentless pursuit, he built the billion-dollar Kraft empire. By subscribing and staying tuned, you can discover more inspiring stories about today's prominent brands. Thanks for watching.